The
Fleet
bridge of
status
the
report.
UES
All
Defiant
ships in
smelled
formation,
like
sir.
burnt wiring
Prepare
and
for
cold
intercept.
coffee.
Weapons online. Standing
Commander
by.
James Reeves stood at the central console, his jaw tight, his gray eyes scanning the tactical display. Around him, a skeleton crew of 11 moved quietly, too quietly. Everyone knew what was coming. The holographic readout painted it in cold blue light, 412 enemy warships, arranged in a formation that stretched across 6,000 kilometers of open space. The Galactic Empire of the Vorath had come to finish what they started 3 weeks ago at the Battle of Kepler Station, where they had turned 14 human alliance vessels into drifting clouds of debris. The Defiant was the only ship that had limped away. Now they had followed her here, to the edge of the Orion Arm, to the dead space beyond the frontier, expecting to finish the job. Lieutenant Marcus Webb turned from his station. His face was young, too young for the exhaustion carved into it. "Sir, the Vorath Fleet Commander is hailing us." "Again." "I know," Reeves said. "He's offering terms. Surrender. He says he'll make it quick." Reeves almost smiled. "Tell him we're busy." Chief Engineer Dorothy Callahan crawled out from beneath the reactor housing, her red hair plastered to her forehead with sweat. Her hands were shaking, not from fear, but from 43 hours without sleep and 3 burned fingers she hadn't bothered to treat. "She's ready," said, wiping her hands on her suit. "Probably. 60% chance she doesn't tear the ship apart when we fire her." Reeves looked at her. "And the other 40%? We all become a very fast-moving cloud of atoms." She paused. "The good news is we won't feel it." The weapon was called Mjolnir, a mass-accelerated gravitational pulse cannon, experimental, untested in combat, designed by a team of physicists at MIT who had argued about the ethics of building it for 2 years before the war made the argument irrelevant. It worked, in theory, by collapsing a localized gravitational field around a target zone, compressing anything within range into a dense, dead mass. In simulation, it had destroyed an entire fleet formation. In simulation. "Fire it up," Reeves said. On the bridge of the Imperial Command vessel Eternal Dominion, Fleet Admiral Vrax looked at the single human ship on his display and felt something he rarely allowed himself: amusement. "One ship," said his second commander, Dale. "They are positioning themselves as though preparing to attack." "Let them," Vrax said. "It will be a fine story." The last human vessel charged an empire. He settled back into his command throne. "Bring us to within weapons range. I want to watch their hull split." The 412 ships of the Vorath 7th Fleet began to MOV. On the Defiant, every screen flickered as Mjolnir drew power from every non-essential system on the ship. The lights died. The temperature dropped. Specialist Ray Cooper at the weapons console typed the targeting sequence with numb fingers, his breath fogging in the sudden cold. "Targeting solution locked," Ray said. "Full fleet formation within pulse radius." "Structural integrity?" Reeves asked. Dot's voice came over the intercom from engineering. "Holding. For now. James, you should know. I'm proud of this crew." The bridge went silent for exactly 1 second. "Fire," Reeves said. There was no sound. No explosion. No dramatic shockwave visible to the naked eye. Mjolnir simply exhaled, a pulse of collapsed gravity that rolled outward from the Defiant in a perfect sphere, silent and total, moving at a speed that gave the Vorath fleet no time to process what their sensors were screaming at them. 412 warships, the pride of the Galactic Empire, the fleet that had never once known defeat, crumpled. Not destroyed in fire. Not torn apart by missiles. They simply compressed, folding inward like paper in a fist, until the entire 7th Fleet occupied a space roughly the size of a small moon, a dense, cold, silent tomb drifting in open space. Admiral Vrax never finished his thought. The Defiant floated in stillness. Reeves stood at the viewport for a long time, looking at what remained, which was nothing recognizable, nothing that looked like ships or soldiers or an empire at all. Ray broke the silence first. "Sir, did we just—" "Yes," Reeve said quietly. Marcus looked up from his console, voice unsteady. "The Vorith home network is broadcasting. Every channel. They're saying—" He stopped. Swallowed. "They're saying the 7th Fleet has gone silent. They're calling it a ghost reading. They don't believe it yet. They will," Dot said from the doorway to the bridge, her burned hand wrapped loosely in a bandage, a half-empty coffee mug in the other. She looked out at the stars. "Give them a minute." Reeves turned from the viewport. His crew looked back at him, 11 people, hollow-eyed, exhausted, alive. "Set a course for home," he said. No one cheered. They were too tired for that, and too aware of what they had done, and what it meant, and what would come next. But Marcus Webb, 23 years old, too young for this war, quietly put his hand flat against the hull of the Defiant, the way a person touches the shoulder of someone who carried them when they couldn't walk. The ship hummed beneath his palm. And they went home.